Okay, should we start? No classes today? Okay, fine. So let's start with the newspaper. Anything important you find? Yeah, before I show. You don't have newspaper. Don't say that. Yes, anything important you consider? Yes, NISAR, NASA ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar. There's one more news by Trump that 25%, yes, tariff. Do you think it's important? Both news important? Both are important. Now, as far as Trump has announced 25% tariff, look at this thing, what is exactly happening over here. So we are negotiating a trade deal with USA. Okay, what USA wants is India should reduce tariffs or taxes on many of the American products. America wants more open economy when it comes to their products. So let's say they are bringing Harley Davidson, they are bringing anything, they want lesser taxes in India. Now India is not doing that, so they said, or especially Trump specifically said, we are going to come up with something called as reciprocal tariff. This happened initially. Reciprocal means because you have put tariff on us, we will put tariff on you, right? So much important. What happened? Okay. Okay, don't worry, you don't need to look at newspaper right now. Just understand the news first. Okay, then you can read it. So this was happening. After that, what was the expectation of Trump was that India and other countries, when he will put such pressure that I will put so much tariff and all, these countries will come to USA and make a trade deal, make some negotiation, and that trade deal will take place. As far as India is concerned, we were also having a talk with USA to go for this trade deal, and it was having a deadline of 1st of August. From US's side, it was said that by 1st of August, we have to complete this trade deal. If it is not done, then Trump is like, I'll put tariff on you. India said, we don't care about this thing. Like if you put such deadline and all, we are not going to listen to that. We will have good negotiation and then we will come to a final conclusion on a trade deal. But Trump is Trump. He's putting his pressure. So now what he said, I'm putting 25% tariff because it's already like month is completing, 1st of August, nothing happened. Trade deal did not conclude. We were having the talks. The talks have continued. It's like the trade deal was about to get completed. It was in that stage. Okay, but this incident has happened, and what Trump is saying, two things he's saying. First, India has very high tariffs. That's one thing. Second reason is the Russian side. You see, whatever is happening with respect to this Ukraine-Russia war, Trump said, I'm going to sort out this war on the first day of coming to power after elections. He said that, but that didn't happen. And in recent times, what happened? Russia is not even cooperating at all, is what Trump feels. Now what he is trying to do, he is trying to put pressure on Russia, and to put pressure on Russia, he is putting pressure on friends of Russia or those who are cooperating with Russia. So this is a geopolitical message from United States side that don't indulge with Russia, or they're saying that because India buys lot of oil from Russia and you people have lot of tariffs also, that's the reason I have put this 25% of tariff on India. Okay, so this geopolitical reason is important. Number one reason is geopolitical, Russia as I mentioned. Number two reason is Trump's policies of protectionism, which gives importance to the interest of Americans or American producers. So he's just looking at this dimension wherein he wants more open market in India. For that, whatever has to be done, they're trying to do that. Okay, this is called trade protectionism. Earlier, they were having no protectionism as such. Before Trump, there was no protectionism. Although the trend was there, but we are observing this trend right now wherein they're just trying to protect their industries. Okay, so these are the reasons why this has happened. Now 25% tariffs on many of our products, that means certainly our exports are going to get hampered. Do you think from the angle of export, America is important? For India's exports, America is important or not so important? Important, very important, very important, very important. Okay, we are exporting lot of products to them and we are earning. We said that when it comes to export, when it comes to earning dollars, it's America which is the best market for India. Now in this case, you see, our electrical machinery, pharmaceutical products, nuclear machinery, mineral fuels, pearls, precious stones, all these are those industries or those segments which are going to affect, because these are the stuffs which we are exporting more to USA. So those will be affected in the short term. So in short term, it means in next few months or a year, you'll say that these industries will be hampered, their exports will go down. Okay, apart from that, maybe there will be difference in the supply of dollars. Suddenly you will see that there is drop in the rupee, right? $1 is equal to, let's say, 80 rupee, 70 rupee, whatever that exchange rate is. You will see some changes in that, because suddenly when Trump is putting such tariff, so there will be some problems, because of which you will see changes in that exchange rate. Now this is going to happen in the short term. If you look at the consequences in the long term, not necessarily these are going to be good for America. There can be two ways. One way would be India might go and talk to USA and say that remove these tariffs, we will have a trade deal, somehow we will sort it out. That could be one way. That is the expectation of USA. Or there can be other way, wherein what India might do is, India might resist to this pressure and India will rather not depend more on USA. Right now we depend on USA. Instead of depending more on USA, we will start having deals with other countries. Like we had a trade deal with UK, we'll go for trade deal with EU, we'll have a trade deal with some other parts. Okay, we will look at diversifying our exports so that we do not depend on USA. What USA is doing, USA is misusing that one dimension, that USA has a market. If you want access of this market, if you want to export your products to USA, see, USA is a very consumerist economy. Okay, whatever you want to export, you can export. The people over there are ready to buy. That's why we are doing that. That's the stuff they are misusing. That if you want access to our market, then listen to what I want. That's what they're saying. So there can be two dimensions. Either we will be okay with that pressure, or we might resist it. So we might look for diversifying our export market. That could be one thing. Second, we will focus on becoming Atmanirbhar, focusing more on India's own economy rather than depending on USA or such countries. Okay, making ourselves internally strong, our economy, if we expand it, so that would be much beneficial for us. Okay, and somewhere you will even see we might go ahead with talks with these BRICS countries, because we don't like US domination, so much US domination. Now we have problem with China, that's why we are going to USA. But when US also is dominating a lot, we'll go to this group. Okay, that's why understand why India is part of BRICS also, and why India is, becoming kind of ally of USA also. Because we have to protect our national interests. If they are not behaving well, we'll go to this side. Simple. Although that's not going to be easy. China is not a very good friend as such. Okay? And because this is happening, are we going to end our relations with Russia? Because the relationship with Russia is very long. If you see, it is said that all-weather friend when we talk about Russia. Although it was not Russia, it was Soviet Union in reality. Yes, but we have our own problems also. We have one neighbor. It is said that neighbor is an enemy, natural enemy, and your neighbor's neighbor is your natural friend. So by that geopolitical logic, Russia is naturally our friend. We don't have contradictory interests as such. Now they are getting contradicted because of this geopolitical fight between USA and China. Because when it comes to USA and China, we go to US side, and Russia is going to Chinese side. Russia is going to Chinese side not by will, because of this pressure, because US has put so much sanctions, nobody's buying the products of Russia, so Russia is selling everything to China. So obviously they'll go take their side. Simple. Getting the point? So this all is happening. It's like geopolitics is mixed, trade is mixed, and domestic policy of Trump that is also mixed over here, because of which we see so many incidents happening. We don't know what will happen. What will be the action of Indian government? We don't know. Whether they will focus on diversification, they are definitely going to do. Atmanirbhar Bharat, they are definitely going to do. But this is something that will take time. For the short term, what action they will take, we will have to see that. Okay? Any doubt on this? Yes? No? You're thinking? No doubt. Okay. Then Nisar, we had discussed Nisar earlier, if you remember. Or no? So let's check how much you people remember. NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar. Okay. Now here we are talking about radar. So what is radar? What is radar? Huh? Radio something. So there's something called radio waves. Radar is a system which is going to make use of radio waves. And using radio waves, you're going to detect something. Let's say I'll send some radio waves. Those are going to, collide with this board and come back. So we will make an image that there is something flat over here. Okay, such images will be created. Using which waves? Radio waves. That will be radar. And there are different waves. We discussed this part also. Electromagnetic spectrum. That the light energy that is coming to us, it is in the form of different waves. Long waves, short waves, right? Which one will be having strong energy? Short waves, very good. Short waves, that is this gamma rays, X-rays, those will be way stronger than these one, right? Now, then we talked about this synthetic aperture radar. We said that it is simply observing the earth, right? It is making images of the earth, earth's surface. If there is forest, if there is soil, it is going to make those images, making use of radio waves. Okay, so here what it is exactly doing is, instead of putting a larger antenna, larger lens as such, they're using the smaller one, but that is going to move continuously and take smaller images of high resolution and then combine it into forming a big image of high resolution. Right? That's how they're coming up with this synthetic aperture radar, is what we said, and it is going to benefit us in many ways. First of all, it works day and night because we are using radio waves. It works in all weather conditions. Even if there is cloud, still radio waves can move. No problem with that. Sunlight, normal sunlight, visible light, you might not see because of clouds. But radio waves can move, no problem. So this works. High resolution images, minute surface movements. Even if, let's say I discussed in the last lecture, there are glaciers, right? And those glaciers keep on moving, I said. But we can't see that. We can't see that glacier moving, right? But we can observe that using these images. Because very minute details can also be observed. Those images can be created using this synthetic aperture radar. That's the speciality. Okay? Now, I had discussed one more thing, that it has got two bands in it. Yes, L band, S band, right? Benefit is, one band will help us get the surface level details, only the surface part, only what is at the surface level and all that detail. But when we have to get inside, when we have to get deeper, for that we need different wave. So both the waves are there. So you will get horizontal or surface level details also, and you will get in-depth details also, wherever needed. Let's say you want to check forest cover. If people are cutting forest, if you want to know the minute details, how many animals have died or how many trees have been cut, you can get all those images. Okay? So it is going to be useful anyway in all these segments. It's not like only in one segment or just for disaster or something. It will be having larger application, right? And it's important because NASA and ISRO both are working on it. This is for the first time we are observing a collaborative mission between NASA and ISRO of such a level. Okay, this is very important. I'm repeating this just because they might ask this in exam. High chance. Okay, any doubt on this? Yes, at least remember this band part. Next. India's police must get out of dirty, hairy shadow. Now, I personally suggest you people to read this editorial. Just for the sake of reading, just for the sake of language, you read it. We had already discussed about custodial deaths, if you remember. Yes, I had discussed in detail custodial deaths. I showed you the NCRB data also, right? So they're just discussing about this dimension that so many custodial deaths are there and what police is doing is not good and all. So it is just language part. I don't personally find this article as very relevant for exam, but from just police reform perspective, this could be just one dimension which you can write in the police reforms if they ask. This question is still pending in the mains, police reforms part. They may ask any point of time. Okay, so what I found as important was this particular data which was said in this Lok Sabha. 687 people died in police custody, and these worst states: Gujarat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, UP, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu. When it comes to custodial deaths, at least you people understand, I hope. Yes, you are taken in police custody and they are giving you third-degree torture and you died. Shivaji the boss, right? So that might happen. So such incidents are very common is what these data are showing. Okay? Yes? Dirty, hairy shadow, nothing. It's just wordplay. It's a phrase just used for the language. Don't get into that. It's like people like Shashi Tharoor like such things. This person is a retired IAS officer. He wanted to write an article. So get out of dirty, hairy shadow. Even I don't know. I have to check exact meaning. But as far as I understand, must be a name from some either novel or some movie. They use such terms. Dirty, hairy shadow. So police have to do some, what they go get into is, to get their work done, they have to do some dirty works. Because of which they use such terms. You can Google. I'm not the right person to give you the answer for this. Okay. Next. Boost the capacity of legal aid system. This is very important. Okay. Out of all the articles, one, Nisar, most important. And second, this legal aid part, this is most important for exam, for pre-mains. Okay. What do you understand by legal aid? Okay, financial assistance to poor people. For? Okay, to get aware of legal procedures and all. Okay. Now simply understand, let's say I want to file a case against someone. And let's say I'm a very poor person. Not just poor. Poor would be just one way. One thing could be you are poor as well as you are not aware. You don't know anything about law, right? Or you are not so capable enough to get the help of law. You don't know any lawyer, you can't pay any fees, you know nothing. In that case, you should get this legal aid. That's the idea, legal aid. So this legal aid could be that amount of money, let's say some kind of fees I have to pay to the lawyer, some kind of fees I have to pay at the court. So I don't need to pay that. That should be provided by government. That is free legal aid. I need some support. I need advice. What action I can take? We go to lawyer. Let's say we don't know anything. We go to lawyer and ask what we can do in this particular case. So I need that support also. So all those things are part of legal aid. And in India, we have this provision of free legal aid. Earlier, it was not there. Earlier, this provision was not part of Indian Constitution, but at the time of Indira Gandhi, 42nd Amendment, one amendment was made, and in our directive principles of state policy, in the Article 39, this 39A was added. Okay, 39A. And here, this provision for free legal aid was added. Okay. Now, right now, if we see the constitutional interpretation, that means it is directly mentioned only in this 39A, but it is also indirectly part of Article 14 and Article 22(1). How you understand? Article 14 talks about Equality, equality before the law, equal protection of law. Simply understand that every person should be treated in an equal manner, right? What happens is, some people who have money with them, they can easily get access to lawyers, they can get they can get that easy access to justice. Some people, just because they are poor, they're not getting that access. So this will not be equality before the law or equal protection of law. That's why Article 14's one interpretation could be providing these free legal aid or free legal support to poor or vulnerable section. Rather than poor, I would say vulnerable section. Okay, I'll discuss who all is included in that. Now you understand Article 14. We have Article 22 Clause 1. It provides protection to individuals arrested or detained. So let's say you are being arrested by government, by police. In that case, you get some protection. There are some rules, right? You have to, police have to produce you before that judicial magistrate within 24 hours, right? They have to tell you why they have arrested you. One of that thing is to provide you legal representation. You have a right to get legal representation. That means you can ask police to provide me some lawyer, right? You can get that. So that's how we say even this fundamental right, Article 22(1), although not directly but indirectly provides for this free legal aid support. Getting the point? Okay. Now see the laws part. Constitutionally it is mentioned, but to implement, sometimes we need some laws. Let's say we want some agencies to take care of all these things, so we have to create that agency. Constitution is not talking about any agency, so we brought a law, Legal Services Authorities Act 1987. Now under this act, it is said that it is the government's responsibility to provide free legal aid, and to provide that at the national level, they created one body called as NALSA, National Legal Services Authority, NALSA. This body was created at the national level, and later on we see bodies at every level have been created. Let's say at the state level, we have State Legal Services Authority. At district level, we have District Legal Services Authority. At Taluka level, Taluka Legal Services Committees. And then there are some legal services clinics at some jails, some villages, at very local levels. Okay, all these are created so that such support can be directly provided to people. Okay, so if someone needs such support, they can directly reach out to these agencies. Okay, now NALSA will have the highest control because they are at the central level, and they will be guiding all those state level authorities. So central government will give some money to NALSA to do all their tasks. This NALSA will regulate what these state level bodies are doing, and likewise all these hierarchies will work. Now, as far as this NALSA is concerned, you need to know this particular fact. Chief Justice of India is the patron-in-chief of NALSA, or simply you can understand, he is heading NALSA. Whoever is Chief Justice of India in Supreme Court, he will head it. And there will be one other person, the second senior most Supreme Court judge, he will be appointed as executive chairman. Okay, remember this fact about NALSA. NALSA as a body will be important to you. Okay, now see, from the same act, Legal Services Authorities Act 1987, from this act we get to know that who are those people who are going to get benefit of this legal free aid. Is everyone going to get this free legal aid, or there are few people, some people whom we are focusing on? So the idea was, normally people can get access to justice. It's those people who lack something. Either they don't have money, or they don't have awareness or knowledge, or they're not physically capable. They think about this dimension that such people, such vulnerable sections actually need such free legal aid, right? So here is a list that is given in that particular act, that who all will be eligible for free legal aid or support from NALSA. So women and children, Women and children. Women are also dependent since a long time, although nowadays they are becoming quite independent. Children are anyway dependent. Then members of SC, ST community, industrial workmen, any victim of mass disasters, violence, flood, drought, earthquakes, industrial disasters. So any person who is victim of any kind of disaster, more or less any kind of disaster. Okay, just imagine such a person. Then disabled persons, any person in custody. So we got this. Again, Article 22. Yes, when you're getting arrested, you're getting this help over here. Then victims of trafficking and human beings or beggar. This also we discussed last time, human trafficking. Yes, anyone suffering from that problem, they are also being seen as very vulnerable. They need support. Then those persons who have annual income, now they have set a criteria that if at the state level you're being represented, their annual income 1 lakh, and if the case is in Supreme Court, it is 5 lakh. Now this is the overall criteria in detail that is mentioned in this particular act. Which act? This one, Legal Services Authorities Act 1987. Okay, now see, interesting thing. If you count just a rough estimate, all these people, how many of these, means if we count India's population and check how many are part of this, let's say 100% is our population. So what is the percentage of these people? 25 to 30%. Okay. Anyone wants to try? Huh? Okay, it is written over there. Huh? Sad. Look at this first. 50% is already done over here. So at least you should not talk below 50. Right? Children are there. Male, female, all. Right? Then think about the rest. Okay? That's how it becomes 80%. It's a rough estimate. There is no direct survey as such, but just a basic calculation by which we understand that this includes 80% of the population. So can you understand this free legal aid is being provided? The idea was to help 80% of India's population. At least the intention was there. But what is happening in reality? Current status only in 2023-24, 15.5 lakh beneficiaries, 1 legal aid clinic per 631 village. These data, what they actually show the trend, that in reality it is not really happening, that people are really getting help from this NALSA or from these free legal aid support which was supposed to be provided. We said 80%. In reality, hardly 5-10%. Okay, so that's what is a concern for the writer who has written this particular article. He's talking about that dimension. Now, what are the concerns? Why such things are there? Why very few people are getting help of this free legal aid support, which is constitutionally and legally being provided? Because constitution supports, and we have law also, we have statutory body also. NALSA you will call statutory body or constitutional body? Statutory body, simple. We made a law. From that law, this body has been created. So we have so many bodies, everything is there. Chief Justice of India is involved, everything is done. But still, people are not getting free legal aid. So one reason is lack of awareness. People even do not know that they have this access to free legal aid. At least they should know this thing, that there is something called, there would be some agency who can help you in this case. They don't even know this thing. That's major problem, low awareness. Second, the budgetary allocation. We said central government will allocate some money to NALSA, right? Then NALSA will use. When it comes to allocation of money, that funding is very less to this free legal aid support. So out of all this judiciary part, of this justice part, whatever money is being spent, only 1%, 2% is being spent over here. Even less than 1% they are saying. You don't need to remember such minor data. Just understand that government is not focusing much on putting money on this part of free legal aid support, helping in that. Third, now let's say you are part of this vulnerable section. You reached out to this agency, provide me some legal representation. I don't have money to pay for lawyers. Provide me a lawyer. Government should have some lawyers. right? Now to have lawyers, they have to pay some money to them. If government is paying less amount of money, people will not work for government, right? So such problems are there, wherein because funding is less, because of that these incidents happen, that there will be less number of lawyers available. Sometimes there is infrastructure which is not available. We said last time also, there are many areas, many courts where there is not even any courtroom available. How the judge will work if there is no courtroom? So can you expect the rest of the things? Judges finding it difficult, how can you expect extra things? This is something like extra stuff we can imagine above the basic infrastructure. So infrastructural problem is there. Then bureaucratic problems. Sometimes what happens, this NALSA tries to keep check on this state level agencies. Okay, so for that they come up with some rules and regulations which are very strong, because of which this state level agency will not operate better. So this is bureaucratic problem. Bureaucratic problems are like, you need permission every time from your hierarchy. They will not give you permission. If you try to do something beyond this legal mechanism, they'll not allow that. So such bureaucratic hurdles will be there. Especially there is problem when it comes to spending of funds. Now what NALSA does, let's say NALSA is providing some amount of money to a state level agency, right? They will tell you will use 50% of the amount for this purpose, 25% for this purpose, 25% for this purpose. Now look at this problem from the perspective of that state level agency. They will think that we know what is the problem at local level, and they feel that I think we need to spend more amount on this dimension rather than this one. But the rules from this central agency, they are very strong. This is the bureaucratic problem, that rules are very strong and you can't go against rules. So because of this also, these agencies are not working that efficiently. Getting the point? Yes. Then in this we see those people who are getting this benefit. When we say this free legal aid is being provided, whoever is getting the benefit, in that we see women, SC/ST community and poor people. Their representation is very low. Okay, their representation is very low. So you can understand, in this vulnerable population, who is way more vulnerable than others. Okay, and there is last problem, that is our high pendency of cases. Now we also remember the data, 5 crore cases are pending, right? So and which courts have the more cases pending? Subordinate, the district and subordinate courts, they have high pendency, somewhere around 4.5, 4.6 crores, right? Right, it's good. So many times we are looking at that data that we remember this data now. So these are the reasons why this free legal aid is not being provided efficiently. These are the problems. One more issue that was highlighted in this article particularly is about this utilization done by some states. They're saying that sometimes this happens. This is very interesting about the way our government works or the bureaucracy works. They get the fund from government, they are expected to spend that amount of money by March end, and they'll not spend it. They're like, we don't need. Sometimes this happens, they got the money, but they are just putting it as such. They don't want to spend, they don't want to work on it. This is a major problem sometimes. Okay, and as far as these states are concerned, Assam, Maharashtra, MP, they fully spent their allocated budget in 2023-24. So some states are doing good. Assam, Maharashtra, MP, hardly 3 states. Rest, they are not even spending the money they are getting. First, our complaint was government is not giving money. That was our complaint. But see the horrible condition. When government is giving little amount of money, you are not spending that also. What's the use of giving more money? Useless. Don't you think this problem is a major one? Yes? At least spend whatever is given. Okay? So that's it. That's all about NALSA which you need to know. Last, this was one more article, new GDP series to be released for this IIP and CPI. Last time we had discussed about CPI, Consumer Price Index, CPI, WPI, right? Those indexes are made, right, to check the inflation. What is the rate of growth when it comes to inflation? To see that we use CPI, right? Now for this CPI and this IIP also, what they are doing is they are just changing the base year. What is base year? You see, simply, let's say in 2011-12, just for the sake of example, understand, our growth rate is 8%. And now in 2012-13, what is our growth rate? If you want to check, what you will do is, you will compare the price of something. Let's say this pen cost 100 rupees. 100 rupees in 2011-12, right? And now it became 125, right? So there is 25% growth. Yes, but you compared on which? You compared on this year's price. Yes. Now if I have to check 2013-14, okay, and now the price became 150. Now tell me one thing, what is the growth rate? 25% here you said, and this time you are saying 50%, but 50% you are saying because you are comparing the price with this one. Are you getting this point? If I compare it with this, will it be 25%? No, not even 25%, rather it will be lesser than that. Whatever it is, my point is, when you compare this 150 price with 100, then you see it's a 15% growth. But if I compare it with this price, then I get the real growth. You understand one thing, from last year's comparison, if I have to check, don't you think that will be the right number of growth to understand whether we are really growing or not? If you check in the recent times. Now, if I check my growth and compare it with what was the price in 2001 or 1990. Yes, let's say in 1900, the price was just 5 rupees. Now it became 150. I'll be very happy. So much growth in the Modi ji's government. Don't you think that data will be wrong? So periodically, with time, we try to change the base year. This is the base year which we use for comparison. It is our responsibility that after a few years, change that base year. Take the recent one. Yes? So that's what they are doing over here. So if you see this, new GDP series to be released, current base year of IIP 2012 and CPI's 2012. So this is something they are planning to change. Getting? Yeah, they will change it. If I have added that slide, no, I haven't added. Okay, we'll check what data they will provide. We'll come to know that. Yeah, but they're at least planning to do that, which is a good thing. You need to understand that this is a good trend, that now we will come up with new data. We will know the real growth. Okay, that's it. Any doubts? Yes. No. Lok Adalat is different. Rather, NALSA has some role to play in bringing Lok Adalat. Lok Adalat is a different thing. It's part of this, we call it as alternate dispute resolution mechanism. Right? And even NALSA, under that legal authority, whatever that act is, this NALSA also has some authority to build those Lok Adalats. They play some important role in that. So NALSA and Lok Adalat are not same. Lok Adalat is a special body that is created there. Which one? Check that. Check that. I don't know. I don't remember. Statutory. Okay then. If it is coming from a law, then it is statutory. Done? Okay. Thank you so much.